I'm a massive fan of using podcasts in my teaching and learning. I currently study Polish and I've got various podcasts that I download and listen to on a regular basis, but I also use it for the other languages that I've studied in the past and I still try to maintain, and that is French and Spanish. In this video, I'm going to show you one of the easiest podcasting tools to use. If you've never done or used podcasts before, then you're really going to find this interesting. Google Podcasts is one of the easiest tools to use. It's very easy to search for material. It's very easy to download it. It's very easy to organize your podcasts. And it's a great technology to show to your students. The great thing as well about it is that you can have it on your smartphone. So I will listen to podcasts when I'm on the train or when I'm on the plane, etc. Let's get started with the video. Really hope you like it. If you do, please like the video. Please share the video with other teachers and with other students. Of course, comment on the video. I'd love to know what you think about this video. And of course, join me on my YouTube channel. Let's get started. So Google Podcasts is one of your apps. So if you click over here and scroll down, you should find that you've got Google Podcasts available to use. It's one of the options. There it is. If you can't find it, click on More from Google. I'm going to click and open my Google Podcasts, okay? And straight away you can see that it shows you kind of my subscriptions here at the top of the screen, okay? And I can just click along. And it really is easy to use. Now, first of all, I just want to give you just a little bit of a taster of why it's so useful to show to students. I'm going to show you how to subscribe to podcasts. I'm going to show you how to search for podcasts. I'm going to show you how to download podcasts. Let's just get a quick taste. Let's say, for example, I was to click on this one here. Okay, and what I've actually got here is a whole series of podcasts that are very short. They're like 2 or 3 minutes long, and it tells me which ones I've already completed, and you can see clearly here that I've been listening to quite a lot of these. These are just very short podcasts, 2 minutes in Polish to help me with my language. And if I want to listen to any of the podcasts, I can just simply click here and it will open up and play the podcast to me.
Od jakiegoś czasu uchodźcy z Ukrainy mogą ubiegać się o nadanie numeru PESEL.
Okay, so this is a great way of me getting access to material. Now, if I was to just jump back again to the home page, if I click here, it's going to bring me back to kind of my home. Let's just go to another one. I've got here a French one that I listen to, okay? And I can, again, simply just come down, listen to this one here, click on the button.
Bertrand, depuis la pandémie surtout, on constate une évolution vers une société sans argent liquide. Que penses-tu de tout cela?
Okay, absolutely fantastic that I get access to all of this material. Of course, it's free and it's really easy to do. Now, if I just click back, let me just sort of take you now through the process. First of all, of how you would search for podcasts that you might be interested in. So how do you find podcasts, and then if you find podcasts that you like, how do you subscribe to them? Okay, so first thing then, I'm just going to write at the top here, English podcasts for foreign students, and I'm just going to press on enter. And what it does is it gives me a big list of all the podcasts that come with that particular search item. And you'll see there are literally hundreds. I could go on and on. There's going to be all sorts of podcasts. Now, what you can do is you can quickly click and listen to a podcast and see if you like it. So if I click here,
their time with them, spending time with them. Do you go all in at first?
Okay, so I can click on a podcast and listen to it. I could come down to another one and have a quick listen.
In addition to my free episodes, go to teacherluke.co.uk.
Okay, so you can see that I can basically search very quickly, have a quick taste of particular podcasts that I want. There's one there called Plain English, for example, that I could play. You can see in English there's absolutely tons of material. Now, if you are interested in audio, but you want to have audio that's got activities around that audio rather than just a simple podcast, I'm going to put a link on the screen now that you can click on to a great video that will show you some websites that have got exactly that. We're going to move on with what we can do with Google Podcasts. Now, what happens if you want to know more? Well, the best thing to do, first of all, is to click here, or here, it doesn't really matter. It's going to bring you up to sort of give you not only the latest podcast, but also some of the previous ones, just because you might want to listen to a few more. Now, if you get convinced afterwards, okay, this really is a good channel, a good podcast channel, and then you really want to buy into it and subscribe to it, then just click on the link at the top and it will open up kind of the page with all the information about that particular podcast. Now from here you can do several things. First of all, you can visit the website, and that can be quite interesting because sometimes the website provides even additional information, like for example some of the websites, and I'll show you an example in a minute, provide the actual script to the podcast, but here you can also subscribe to a podcast. Now, why would you subscribe to a podcast? Well, simply because all of the subscriptions, all of the podcasts that you've subscribed to will be in your subscriptions, and you can always just click there and see the latest podcast from your favorite, from the different channels that you're subscribed to. So it's worth searching for content and then subscribing to it. Now you can unsubscribe at any time. So if I click here, then I can unsubscribe to a channel. Now I'm just going to jump into my subscriptions a minute. So I can go to here, and that will allow my subscriptions to open, and I can see my subscriptions at the top. And I'm just going to show you an example of what I mean. So if I click through here, I can see that there are various podcasts that I'm subscribed to. I'm going to click on this one here, and I'm just going to take you over to the website for this one, just to point out that sometimes on the website you'll see in the podcasts that in this particular case, which is one obviously I'm using in Polish, but the same thing happens in English, I actually get the script of the podcast, and that can be really useful. Now, if you like websites that have got audio but also with the transcript, and there are some great ones around, I'm going to put a link on the screen now that will take you to a video that will show you some audio websites but with transcripts, because obviously the podcasts generally don't have the transcripts as well. So if I jump back to my subscriptions, not only do I see a whole row of all the things that I'm subscribed to at the top of the screen, but also I will see the latest recordings here as well. Now there's a couple of interesting things that you can do. If you kind of flick through your recordings and you think, oh, I must listen to that one, and oh, I must listen to that, what you're doing then is you're queuing those podcasts. And so if you now come over to your queue, you'll notice that they're all lined up. And if you play the podcast, it will actually play the first one, then it will play the next one, and then it will play the next one, etc. So you can queue the podcasts. And this can be really useful, for example, if you're, say, going to go in your car, or you're walking down the road, you're on a train, and you want to queue up the podcast and think, right, I'm going to listen to this first, then this, which is something I occasionally do. I must admit, it's not a feature that I make a lot of use of. Now, what I want to talk about now is a couple of really interesting controls. And to do this, I'm going to do it in English. So let's go back to Explore, and what we're going to do this time is we're going to do English for foreign students, and we're going to write elementary because we want something at a lower level, okay? It's a very good idea to be very explicit about what you're looking for, because it's going to really help you to find the types of things. We've got an American English grammar review. I'm going to click on that, and let's imagine that this one here, okay, I can quickly test and listen if I'm happy. Remember, if I want to, I can click here, and it's going to bring me over to the actual channel, and if I want to, I can subscribe to this particular one. Now let's just play an example. I'm going to click here, And I just want to show you a few controls that you've got. You can obviously pause. One of the most useful controls, and one that I use quite a lot when working in Polish, is that you can click here and you can actually slow down or speed up the delivery. Now obviously if it's in English, often I listen to it a bit quicker. If it's going to be in Polish and it's, say for example, something produced by a native, then I will often slow the speed down. And you can even click on this button here and just do it manually, so you can slow the speed of the delivery down. This can be really useful for language learners. Many teachers don't realise that you can do the same thing with the videos that you play in English or in other languages on YouTube. And if you want to learn more about how you can control videos in a very similar way, you can slow the speed down of the video, you can speed it up, but you can also do some other things like limit exactly the part of the video that you want to play, and even open up the transcript of YouTube videos. Then there's a video on the screen now that will show you exactly that. Now, if you download either the Android version or the OS version, the Mac version of this, you'll find on your telephone that the two things are synced. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that anything that you subscribe to from the website, for example, or from the app in Google, when you open up your app version of it, it will be exactly the same on your smartphone. And even to the degree that it remembers where you are within a podcast. So if you've got a long podcast and you're halfway through it and you've been listening to it on your computer and then you want to listen to it on your telephone, you'll find that when you open it up, it will start from that place. I love the way that the two sites sync together. One final thing, when you use the app version, in other words, the version for your smartphone, and I really do recommend that you use that because of the fact that they sync together, then you do also have the option of downloading the podcast, and that is brilliant. So for example, if I'm going on a trip and I'm not sure how good the internet is going to be, or it might be because I'm on an aeroplane and I know I haven't even got internet, then I can download the podcast that I want to listen to, and then I don't need to worry about the internet. Now, that doesn't seem to be possible from the internet version, in other words, working with the app on your computer. You don't seem to have that option, but you do have that option if you are working with a copy with the app on your smartphone. Always remember that if you log in on your smartphone and use the app on your smartphone, make sure you use exactly the same email address that you do when you use it on a computer. That's the way that the two sync together. So really these are the key buttons. Explore, and when you do a search, make sure you do it really specifically. You can also scroll down and see here that it kind of recommends lots of stuff to you. Here you can see your subscriptions. Remember, if you don't want to, or you're fed up with something and you don't want to subscribe to it anymore, you can just simply click on that particular channel, on that particular podcast channel, and then you can unsubscribe as well. You can queue any recordings that you're planning on listening to. You can do that very easily, and once you've watched you can click here and that will take you out of the queue, which is quite useful. So just to make that absolutely clear, if I click here and then if I was to refresh the page, you'll see that it would disappear. So queuing adds it to the queue, but then of course you can take away from the queue as well. Really think this is a great app. It's very easy to use. You also have the option here when you're working with the controls to jump back 30 seconds or move forward 30 seconds. I've become a big fan of Google Podcasts. I don't subscribe to hundreds and hundreds of them. I've got particular ones that I really like and that I'm using very often. Really hope that was useful. Okay, really hope that video was useful. As I've said before, please come over to teachertrainingvideos.com. You can find out all about my online courses here from the front page. You can also subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get updated with all the latest blog posts, with the latest courses, with all the new videos, but perhaps more importantly, the webinars that are often free. And also from here, you can, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, contact me, and you can also, at the bottom of the page, read my latest blog post, which I publish with Express Publishing. I'm going to leave some more videos on the screen now that if you're a language teacher or a language student, you might find useful.